I come up, John Tires, leaving it. John Tires Boxing, weather for Texas. It is March 14th, and today we're going to talk about working your heavy bag. Um, Things that you're going to have a problem with as a beginner, things I had a problem with, things to look out for, things to do, things not to do. We're going to talk heavy bag. Um, First off, I want to start by saying that it is very easy to. We have all become so accustomed to judging one another. We've all come so accustomed to seeing a guy working a bag or seeing a guy in a fight and saying, I'd never do that. That guy sucks. And you have to get that out of your head, because the only way for you to get better at this boxing game, point blank, period, okay, you have to be so exhausted that we have to chisel away all that crap that you've learned and then work from there, right? Because it's not you not knowing that's gonna hasten your development and your productivity and your growing as a fighter. It's gonna be the things that you already know that you don't know you're doing, and that's as simple as it gets, and it's the truth. A couple thoughts on the heavy bag. Always be moving. Never hit a bag that's moving towards you. And technically, if you have the right equipment and you're at a gym, the bag will never move towards you like my sway bag does. It'll be freestanding, or it'll be designed to where it'll be so high, or it'll be a well-made bag, and you can throw shots at it and just make it quake. It's not gonna fly around like mine. But it actually helps me as growing as a fighter, because I have to constantly be watching that bag. I have to be aware of its sway. I have to stop it and then go back to what I was doing. So it helps me be not so reactive. With the heavy bag, it's really easy to spot the beginners from the guys who've been doing this a long time. Because if you look at the pros, they're always throwing punches. They never stop. They might take a second, point three, you know, but they never stop. And you'll see guys come up to the bag, and they'll be hot shotting for the ladies at the gym or whatever, and they'll come in and they'll just they'll throw big punches, bang 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 bang, and then they'll walk away, look around, take a couple deep breaths, 5-10 seconds, 15 seconds, fix my glove, go throw a couple big shots. Look, that 5 or 10 seconds you just took, I'm not going to give you that 5 or 10 seconds in a fight. And that's how you have to train. That's how you have to train, because the moment that you stop punching in boxing, your opponent starts. If you're not moving offense, you need to be moving defense. If you're not doing defense, you need to be thinking offense. You should be constantly moving. There should not be a spare moment in your thought process. You know, Moral of the story is just don't stop punching if you're working your bag. Um, Catch your breath as you move around. Throw your jab. Focus on throwing your jab correctly. Snap fast, snappy punches, bringing them back, and do that. And that's how you can catch your breath, because not only will it get you into shape and get you where you need to be, but it teaches you how to fight tired, man. What are you going to do in the ninth round? You ain't going to have that 5 or 10 seconds. You ain't going to have that ball of water. And you're definitely going to be tired. You know what I mean? So, step in, fire, step out. You know? Focus more on your breathing and not your power. You know, with having a guy standing behind you saying, head or hands, head or hands, hands or feet, head or feet. You got to be moving something, and that's where the pre-recorded things come into play if you're training by yourself. Because you can remind yourself of the mindset that you need to be in coming into this, and you will get more out of your workouts like that. Don't worry. Focus more on all your power being in the being in a being in your breathing than in your punches themselves when you're working your heavy bag, because all your power comes from your technique, and You can't have a technique if you don't have endurance, and if you don't know how to breathe, you're not going to have the endurance that you need. Whenever I first started hitting my bag, I never threw more than 4 punches. I've heard people say 2 to 5. I've heard people say 3 to 6. I think you should focus on other things and not how many punches you're throwing, and do not throw more than 5 punches in a combination. You're not ready for that. You know, stick to normal combos, as well as a couple that you want to sneak in there. That's what I did. That's what I prefer to do. If you if you first walk up to a bag and your shoulders aren't dead after your workout, okay, you're not throwing your punches high enough, and your hands aren't high enough. And that's one of the biggest things that I'm reading when I go do research for these videos, or whether I go to check something that I think is right, but I have to make sure, you know. But when it comes to working a bag, guys have a lot of trouble transferring it in their minds into a fighter, you know. And the bag don't hit back, and that's everybody knows that. It's a common thing. I've never seen a bag hit back. I've thrown my bag at someone, and I've had my bag hit me, not paying attention. But guess what I was doing? Not paying attention. You know, 90% mental, 10% physical, man. But that 10% physical is going to take everything you have. Try to be active when you rest. On your heavy bag workouts, always keep your hands up. You know. Yeah, like I said, that bag doesn't punch back. You know, it's easy to keep your hands down if you're not getting punched in the face. You know, and that's what I'm focusing on the shoulders for, because a lot of guys, they don't have. I'm all shoulders, you know. That's all I got. But I remember the first couple times I worked my bag, shoulders. You know, with the bag like I got, it's a sway bag, so you need to constantly be moving with it. You need to constantly be keeping your distance with your bag. You need to constantly be thinking about your legs. If you're constantly thinking about your legs, I need you to constantly think about everything and simultaneously think about nothing. And what you have to understand is that if you have a sway bag like I have, and you're able to keep up with your bag's movement, or you're not able to keep up with your bag's movement with your feet, that's a clear sign that you need to lighten up, dude. You need to stop throwing so much power into it. You need to start thinking technique and not power. Because if you can't keep up with the way your bag's moving, you either got to get a heavier bag, number one, or you're not doing anything. Or number two, you're throwing too much power into it. Because that bag should only quake. You know, it shouldn't sweat. It should just quake like it's having a seizure, you know. You have to develop better footwork, right? So, like I alluded to earlier, if you're not making an offensive move, you need to be thinking defense. You should never stop thinking. You should never stop moving. You should never stop, and that's what you train yourself to do when you train on your bag. Move your feet when you're not punching. Move your hands when you're not punching. Head, feet, hands. You know, I had a guy yell it: head, feet, hands. Head, feet, or hands. Head, feet, or hands. Take your pick. You know. You know, that snap sound, that smack, you know, not a thud. That's what you're looking for. Softly, tat, 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 tat. And as long as I hear the smack, you're doing something, you know. You know, if you're trying to push punch a bag, your punches on your bag need to be first, once you get your technique down, you know, and you're throwing your 1-2, you know, head slightly off center, you know. I kind of land my jabs, okay, and I kind of, okay, because it's all one fluid motion, right? Right, it's all momentum, right? Right. But you'll find that in the beginning it's going to be hard to keep your feet grounded the whole time you're throwing shots on this bag, because what, is my footwork not good enough? Is my punches too fast? Well, your punches are slow. Your footwork sucks. But that's the reason that you're having a hard time grounding your feet with every punch and going fast. But you have to focus on that. Because once he catches you with a left hook and you're kind of swaying, you're going to want to know where your feet are. Right? But grounding your feet when you punch against your heavy bag and not throwing pushing punches, but throwing, snappy, right? Snapping, they come right back. Snapping punches. Your push punches are only going to wear you out on a heavy bag, especially if you have a sway bag. There's expertboxing.com has a great guide. If you guys don't know about expertboxing.com, let me plug him real quick. This kid, he's not a kid. I mean, this guy's something else. In the way that he can break things down and explain them to people who don't have the knowledge or the experience that you're going to have walking into a boxing ring. In the way that he explains things, it's for the layman. It's for the beginning. And expertboxing.com has a great guide to throwing a snapping punch. If you're using the bag to hold, I was browsing through his website earlier and it's talking about balance, and it's saying, don't use the bag to hold you up. Don't push with your shoulders. It's a bad habit, and it allows skilled fighters to keep you off balance by moving when they feel you're leaning on them. Worst of all, do not push the bag around with your head. It's just a great way to leave yourself open for uppercuts. There's certain things that people do that you're not going to have a problem with. There's certain things that I did that I never had a problem with that I thought I was going to have a problem with. And it's only when I realize that it is the thing that I am not worried about. It is the thing that I'm not noticing. It is the thing that I'm not improving that is hindering me from becoming a better boxer. That's when I learn. And it seems to be that when you're on a bag or you're trying to figure out yourself, I've learned that if I'm not completely dead, if I'm not completely exhausted and open to be taught, then I can't do nothing. I can't learn while I'm in my video mode. I'm never going to find anything out. And quality time with your bag. My last tip for your heavy bag workouts, before I show you a couple of my shots, 30-30-30s. Very important. I'll show you how to do that. Let's write that down. 30-30-30s and a couple shots. One of the most important things is your eyes. Okay? Guys get tired, they start throwing shots, they're looking at the ground, they're looking at, C-cup in D-row, or they're looking at, whatever they're looking at. They don't have their eyes about them. You need to focus on a spot on your bag. Put a piece of tape on it, whatever you need to do. And be in the mindset that this is you go and throw a couple shots in your bag and you stand there with your hands dropped. Well, picture me being the bag. If you come up to me, throw 3 or 4 shots like you're going to, because you won't throw 5 in the beginning, you'll throw your 4 shots and you'll just, drop your shoulders and everything's cool because it's a bag. But you need to think of it as an opponent. You need to think about it as me standing there. You just hit me, 3-4 times and, 1 or 2 of them landed, and now I'm going to beat you up. So next time you're standing next to a bag, if you're ever standing next to a heavy bag or you're walking past a heavy bag and your hands aren't protected and you're about to hit it, hey, what's up, man? I want you to hear my voice in your head, whether you're just casually standing on the bag during your workout or you're walking past one about to hit it. And I want you to hear me, look out, knock it off, right? And pretend the 3 foot around the bag is on fire. You want to get in, get out. And if you're in close, you at least want to be moving so you're not getting completely burned up, right? And that's how I think about it. I have trouble keeping weight on the proper foot sometimes, so I tie one shoe tighter than the other. You know, these are things that you can't. If you do figure them out on your own, you're a very skilled individual. But most people have to be taught, and not just that. Most people have to do it in front of a mirror to realize they're even doing anything wrong. You know, and that's what I want you to take away from this is how much of a mental workout your heavy bag needs to be, as opposed to physical. It needs to be 90% mental, 10% physical. But that 10% needs to take everything you have. Because only once you get rid of all the fluff and all the hype and all the excitement and all the pretty girls at the gym and all the meatheads who, you know, all they're hearing is smack, 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 smack. Oh, this guy's a tough guy. Oh, da, da, da. You know, that's the wrong mindset to have, man. You know, and there's reasons why I work out the way I do. There's reasons why I prefer to, you know, but we won't get into that. But you know, I see, you know, everybody. If you don't make the same mistakes, you're going to make a lot of the same mistakes. And you're never going to realize that you're doing it unless you have someone or some way to catch yourself doing it like I do, how I videotape myself, and I erase them. Or you have someone there to tell you. And, you know, it's not that we got to teach you what you don't know. It's that we got to stop you from doing what you already know. And, you know, it's one of the beautiful dualities of boxing. It's so simple, yet it's so complicated. You know, you have to hold on to everything you know and retain it, but at the same time, you have to let go. You can't learn anything unless you're completely exhausted. I mean, these things about boxing, these little quips or whatever you call them, sad but true. Sean Tires Boxing, right, Texas.